this morning's sourdough situation, brought to you by my lovely girlfriend, Angela Carter. And a bonus 3 points in the game to any of you who caught the Ferris Bueller's Day Off museum scene reference. I had a number of different ideas of what I wanted to do for today's upload, but the lack of planning on my part to make those happen has resulted in their detriment. Number one was going to be finally throwing together the Guru the best we can for what I've got. Problem is, for what I've got excludes wheels. The wheels that I'm going to use are at a friend's house. I messaged him kind of late and he's like, well, I'm going to work. You'll have to grab them some other time. I'm like, wow, other people have schedules that are different than mine. The worst. So this thing just back onto the back burner until a little later on this week. And then I figured, no problem. There's another bike that's kind of broken that everybody loves that just needs a quick fix. It's this one. It's hard to get to. I'm going to do it anyway. Actually, I'm not. It's the very picturesque and famous Ronster Cross. It has a broken spoke. And I broke that spoke in the video where I talked about the history of how that bike became mine and what it is today. It broke while we were riding on Citadel Hill on the off-camber. Those tires, those WTB Ventures, I guess, grip hard enough that it flexed the wheel and broke one of the spokes. So my plan was, okay, the dishing of that wheel I'm not super satisfied with. The non-drive sides are a little bit looser than I'd like anyway. I'll just go get, like, I think it's a 28 hole. So I'll go get 14 new straight pull spokes that are just like a tiny bit shorter so that they can have a higher tension. And I assume that that will not mess with my dishing. That's what I want to try. The shops, holiday hours, closed today. Well, I'll tell you what I do every time I'm in this situation on a rainy, warmer winter day without anything to really do. Hardly a plot twist. We go running. As a bike rider, as a cyclist first, I kind of had that feeling originally when I first started running that it was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. I don't know why anyone would do this. And I made all the like typical cyclist or people in general hating running jokes. And within probably the last like 4 or 5 years, my sentiment has changed like 180 degrees. And I've become like a runner, like a defined runner. Though maybe not the best route planning runner because I don't know what went through my head that I thought that this would be clear. These conditions are a little bit miserable. All those completely clear roads, Norton, and we decided to come out here. Well, reason one, first and foremost, most importantly, is primarily due to our number one favorite best boy, Norton. This guy. We were just running with him. I can't remember ever really going out for any sort of like real run before we got Norton into our lives. And the biggest reason that I had to pivot doing that with him is because of weather like today. Or because of winter, or because of time constraints, or because something's broken. To get him to learn to be able to go mountain biking and stick nearby me, getting him to run next to me on the road and on paths and stuff was a good training step towards going to trails and him learning to do the same while I'm on a bike and there's no leash involved. But also in weather like this, you can't go mountain biking because you're going to destroy the trails. And of course you can go road riding, but you can't expect a dog to be able to chase you on a road bike on the road at speed for the distance that you're going to go. He would die. And we're not in the business of letting dogs die. So you go for runs. My pace is not too fast for him. He's always happy at the end. You can see him smiling the whole time. He's just as happy running on a trail with me as he is running on a trail with me on a bike. He is the true catalyst to getting exercise on my feet. The second thing that I feel has acted as a bit of a driver in me continuing to run and then eventually learning to enjoy it is running is easily the cheapest thing that you can do for an activity or exercise. You do not have to own anything at all, which of course is in like stark difference to a mountain biking or road riding. But with mountain biking, I very vividly remember a time when I was in university and I was like, oh, I'd like to go ride mountain bikes today. And it's like, look at your bank account. You're like, car's on empty, not necessarily sure that spending the money on the fuel to go to a mountain bike trail to go ride is like the best financial decision. So you just throw on any pair of shoes, leave your door and start running, no money spent, exercise had. And then finally, I think we're gonna call this reason 3, a little bit of annual family competition may have taken over a little bit in the form of the Moncton Duathlon. And the first time that we did the duathlon, my brother beat me because he was a better and faster runner in the 2.5 kilometer and 5 kilometer sections of the duathlon. The 20 kilometer bike ride was not enough time for me to make up the difference. And from that time forward, I said, that can't happen again. And I really started to take running a lot more serious, attempting to make sure that my speed and my times were just like a little more competitive than they ever were in the past. Competition can be a very healthy motivator and also unhealthy motivator, but in this case, completely, utterly healthy. If I do recall correctly, the second time that we did the duathlon, I did quite a bit better running and got a tubular flat. So, yeah, there was that. Year three was better. 3 years of training, that's all it took. But I remember kind of for like a lot of that time, I sort of was dreading the act of actually having to go run. You'd be like, ugh, this is hard. You know, there's no coasting, there's no breaks. It's just difficult. And I would look at it as punishment almost the same way that I always looked at climbing on a road bike or climbing on a mountain bike, climbing in general, just dreading such an integral part of whatever it is that you're doing. What goes up must come down, and to be able to go down, you have to do that up. And one day I just decided to stop having that negative connotation to climbing. And I said, no, I'm gonna like this now. I'm just going to positively reinforce every thought I have about climbing a bike. And over time, I found myself starting to believe it. I was like, yeah, maybe I do like climbing. Like, I'm not the best at it, but it is kind of fun for that challenge and see if you can get up a mountain, a climb, some sort of punchy little run up, whatever. Just see if you can stay on the bike and make it happen. So eventually when it came to running, I was like, I'll just do the same thing. Every time I'm going for a run or every time I'm out on a run and it seems like I'm having a bad time, I'll just literally force my mind to think that I'm having a good time, that I'm enjoying it, and that everything is great. And it worked. Okay. Tomorrow we're either going to build the Guru or fix the Monster Cross. I don't know yet.